We talked a lot about whether an enhanced trigger in a duty gun, in a carry gun, can get you in trouble legally. We've seen the answers to that. I'll point you to other videos for that. But are they objectively better when it comes time to the kind of shooting that defensive shooters do? I think we can get some objective data today, so let's talk about it. Whether in dry fire or in live fire, the Mantis X firearms training system really helps you to get better every day with your defensive shooting. I use mine all the time. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. I want to say thank you to the Mantis X Firearms Performance System for sponsoring these Dry Fire Monday videos. I've been working really hard on my handgun skills, and I have some interesting stuff here about this competition style or customized triggers. You guys know this is Benvolio, my P30. That is a very customized gun. It is my everyday carry gun, has a Trijicon RMR on it, and has been highly customized with a short reset trigger by Gray Guns. Bruce Gray and his team did a fantastic job of making this gun up, and it is my everyday carry gun. And sometimes people ask me, well, wait a minute, is that okay legally? Different discussion, but does it really make a difference, John? Well, let's start by saying this, okay? You can spend all the money you want on high-end equipment, and if your skill set's not up to it, it's not going to help you. It's like a beginning golfer buying a $2,000 set of Ping irons. It's not really going to help you. You got to get the skill set first. Then once you get into that intermediate to advanced skill range, then the equipment starts to make a little bit more difference. So if you're a beginning shooter, let's just say, for instance, you have a hard time running a clean dot torture at 3 yards, keep working on that. That's where you're going to be working more than trying to buy yourself skill. If you have trouble with a Gila Hayes 5x5, keep working on that until that is what you can do. Then maybe the equipment will start to make a little bit more difference. In the beginning stages, not enough of a difference probably not to make a big deal. But I've got a couple of guns here that are pretty cool, and I think they can give us some objective data, particularly when you use the Mantis X3, about why I think sometimes when you're stepping up there into the intermediate to advanced handgun shooting, you might really want to have something where the trigger is improved a little bit. This is a P30 Lem, very first P30 Lem that I've ever owned. This is, we call this guy Tybalt. Tybalt has a Shield RMS on him, and I carried this gun while Benvolio was back at Gray Guns getting customized. So we'll compare these two, and I have some more. And now two VP9s. This is John Talbot. John Talbot was my carry gun, my introduction to HK. Carried this gun for almost 4 years. This is a stock VP9 that I have been using in my dry fire classes at Attitude First Martial Arts Academy. John Talbot has also been back to Gray Guns. So this is a Gray Guns short reset trigger in a VP9. This is a stock VP9. Now I'm going to tell you, the stock VP9 trigger is money. This is probably the best stock striker fired trigger on the market. Man, you could argue Walther PPQ as well, and I think you'd have an argument, but I think VP9 is right up there, but this one's definitely improved. So we can start just by getting some idea of how my gun is going to shoot by just taking some open shots. Right now, we have Benvolio. So again, this is a Gray Guns short reset trigger, and I'm just gonna take 5 shots so you can kind of get a baseline of what's going on. So if I just pick out a target, and I'm getting slow, good fire and doing all my basics and getting the hammer to drop well. Excellent shot, 96.2. Okay, fine, let's get a couple more. Good. So all I'm doing is practicing my fundamentals here, right? Getting a good grip, good side picture, good side alignment, getting the trigger to press straight to the rear. So again, 3 things you got to do: grip the gun, sight the gun, trigger the gun. So I'm gripping the gun, sighting the gun, triggering the gun, doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, getting a good shot. It's as good as it gets, 98.7. You can't replicate that. Good. That's 4 shots. Let's do one more. Good. That one I moved a little bit, but okay. So what's my average here? So if I stop, average of 94.5, nothing to be angry about. One of the things I like about the new Mantis X3, quick detach, makes life a little bit easier. Let's put this guy down, go to the regular gun. Carefully, don't want to cover my hand. Okay, let's reset. Do 5 shots with Tybalt. Again, stock P30 Lem trigger. Actually, technically, this was a double action, single action that HK put a Lem in for me. So there it is for that. Okay, so same sighting system. You can feel it's a little longer, a little grittier. Really holds off at the end there. Can tell you that I'm super used to my Gray Guns trigger. So this stock one coming back. Good. It's definitely heavier. Okay, so that was pretty good, 5 shots, and again, what you saw there, 94.6, so functionally identical, right? I mean, within a tenth of each other. And you're like, well, that seems that you're able to do the same. Okay, so if I'm doing slow fire and I have really good marksmanship fundamentals, you guys know I've been working really hard for the last couple years. My marksmanship fundamentals are strong. I can hit not necessarily all 10s, but I can get in the 90s on a B8 target at 25 yards, pretty much on command, which means my fundamentals are really sound. And what we see here is that's the case on a stock P30 LEM trigger or on my Gray Guns enhanced trigger, but we're not done yet. So what I want to do here instead is I want to run the compressed surprise break. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a beep and I've got to go. I have to break that trigger. So I'm going to be on the trigger, finger on the trigger all the way at the wall, and then I'm going to get a beep and I have to go and get that trigger to break. Okay, so we're running at some speed, not quite the same as if we were shooting in live fire, but it's a good measure for us. Let's see how we do here between the two. Okay. Oof, that was a bad shot. Felt bad at least. Okay, so an average of 92.1 at some speed with a 0.28 second break. Not bad. I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty darn happy with that. So again, marksmanship fundamentals are always king. Let's try it with Benvolio here and see if that Gray Guns trigger makes any objective difference. There we go. Boy, it sure feels different. I can tell you that it feels significantly different in my hand. Now, we're about the same time period, within 200ths of a second, just a little bit faster. Now, other than that last shot, which I kind of let go a little bit, you can see I'm doing pretty darn well here and a little bit higher. So if I do my work, here's what I feel. I feel that the break is more consistent. Now, I will tell you this, here's the big thing. If you watch the reset, I'm gonna bring this up here so you can kind of see the reset. So I go click on this one here. That's as far as the Gray Gun short reset goes. That's pretty good. This is a stock P30 LEM. Click. All the way out to here. Not bad, but not clearly like what the Gray Guns is. So I can tell you, because I've done it off camera, and I know that you'll trust me, that run the VP9 with slow fire is about the same thing. As if your fundamentals are good, it's going to be the same. But let's run the compressed surprise break with a stock VP9 versus a Gray Guns short reset VP9 trigger. See if we notice any difference. Now the sights aren't going to make any difference here because, again, I'm not actually hitting the target. I can sight a gun, so it would be okay. Let's go for it. Let's see what we got. All right, 94.7. That means I'm really focusing on doing my stuff well. Not unhappy with that at all. So there you see, I'm faster, 0.23 versus 0.27, 0.04 of a second, but 95.7 even better than my than the 94.7 that I ran with the stock trigger. Now, what does this mean for us? Okay, so subjectively, boy, man, the break on this guy so clean, so repeatable, so right. Really love Gray Guns and what they do. Stock VP9, fantastic trigger. Can't hardly argue with it. I mean, it's probably one of the best ones on the market. I think that the worse the stock trigger you have is probably the more improvement that you're going to have. Same thing here with Tybalt versus Benvolio. I mean, a LEM trigger is life. I freaking love the LEM trigger, but the Gray Guns is better. Again, a crisper break, a cleaner break, much better on the reset. And so from a subjective stance, yeah, there's a reason that I carry this guy. Is this difference enough to warrant the expense? Well, gosh, guys, that's something that you got to decide yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with one of these all by itself. I sure like the Gray Gun short reset package though. Makes the gun much crisper and cleaner in my opinion. And it's definitely been worth it for me. Now, I'm going to say mea culpa. Bruce and his team, Bruce I consider an acquaintance. He's a wonderful Christian man. And I sent him both Benvolio and John Talbot, and he did those just gratis for me. Didn't expect anything in return. He's just like, hey John, I just want to put a couple of these in your hand. So he did. I think it's about $350 normally for the package. So, you know, there's that. I didn't agree to do anything for him. I just wanted to see what the differences were, and I think it's cool that the Mantis X actually gives us some objective data. I think maybe we need to do this in live fire as well. Perhaps do this on some build drills and see what we find. But in an overall sense, is it worth it? Well, I think what we're seeing there is probably 1 to 2% improvement at a high level. So I'm a pretty decently high level shooter from a defensive perspective. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bragging or anything like that. I'm not somebody super awesome, but I'm getting pretty decent with my handgun skills. And I think that 1 to 2% is a pretty good improvement at this level. May not be enough to justify the cost for you at your level, but it might. So yeah, if I had an HK or a SIG, gosh man, I'd send it to Bruce and hurry myself, but you got to decide whether it's worth it. And again, thanks to Mantis for giving us some objective data. And at the end of the day, from a Dry Fire Monday perspective, what do we find here? Well, guys, we find that marksmanship fundamentals are the king. That if you can shoot well, that if you've got grip the gun, sight the gun, trigger the gun down, if you can do that, well then you can do that with a stock trigger really well, and you can do it with an upgraded trigger even a little bit better. But if you're garbage with the stock trigger, you're probably not going to be amazing with the better trigger. So what's the lesson? As always, get awesome at your fundamentals. I challenge you to do some open training, whether you have the Mantis or not. Get your dry fire reps in this week. Get those marksmanship fundamentals down no matter what trigger you're shooting.